terms here in chapter 2 that you won't be able to understand if you did not study the video lecture. Kasi yun yung introduction ng chapter 2 na. Okay, 35 na tayo. Teka lang class ha. I'll just check my phone kasi may important messages before I get back to you. Few minutes lang. 36 na tayo. Pasabihan ng iba na mag-join pa. So, kapag hindi siya pipirma ng clearance, yun yung problema. Kasi doon sa DepEd, dapat siya. Although, yung appointment ba natin ay napirma na. Kasi yung hindi pa napipirmahan, wait lang na siya. Kung hindi pa napipirmahan ng upper, natin, yung appointment natin. And she shouldn't be denied. Anong yung sa Nika kung napirma na yung appointment niya? Ayan, 47 na tayo. That's a very good number. I'll be sharing my screen with you. And please bear with me kasi this is from Sir Aaron. What's the surname of Sir Aaron? Valerio. Ayan. Yung material natin ngayon from Sir Aaron Valerio, and it's very fun. Kagabi ko lang chinek kasi kagabi ko lang pinasend sa kanya. Tawang-tawa ko dun sa mga memes na nilagay niya sa material na ito. Continuation ng chapter 2 natin. Actually, reiteration or re-echo lang of the concepts in chapter 2. Sa kanya ko kinuha yung material kagabi. At habang binabasa ko, tawang-tawa ako. Please bear with me. It's from the messenger. Yun lang naman yung i-open natin. Sabihan nyo ako kapag may nagpa-pop na message na hindi nyo dapat mabasa. Please someone tell me ha, class president. So I'll be sharing my screen. Yung messenger ko ang isi-share ko sa inyo. Right? At saan na? This one. Ayan, nakikita na. Nakikita na, class?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Tawa si Reyes, oh. Kumusta na raw? Me after 1 week synchronous break. Kumusta? Okay, another one. Wow, daming gawain. Parang mas magandang magdabog na lang. Sino nagdadabog na sa inyo? Ayan. I don't know if you know Sir Aaron Valerio, but he's a very, very good instructor. And it's a 21st century instructor. Not conventional, not boring, not limited, pero nakikisabay siya sa Gen Z yan, sa 21st century na technology na pag-aaral. Ayan. Okay. Next, when Arthur Neri said, siguro ngayon wala nang natira. May utak felt that. Wala na bang natira sa mga utak ninyo, class? Let's lighten the mood. Review ng review. Okay pa ba? Kaya pa? Quiz sa purposive, quiz sa ethics, performance test sa purposive role-playing sa ethics. Ay, visit naman Angelica, sabi niyo, ano? Okay, next one. We all know someone who acts like this. Me without coffee, me with coffee. I think, only a few will relate. Kasi, hindi naman kayo mga coffee people kasi you're only students. Yun namang mga nagkakape sa inyo. Kapag ka nagkatrabaho na kayo, dyan na kayo makaka-relate. Kulang ang 5 cups of coffee in a day. So, you take a cup of coffee in the morning, kapag kapasok mo sa opisina, tapos after that, since air condition naman, kahit na alas 12, nagkakape ka, and then alas 2, kasabay ng merienda, and then uwian, coffee ulit, then we're doing your presentation, you would discuss the following day, you'll have to take a coffee para may kasama ka, may kape na kaya kang paglaban, o diba? Paglaban sa iyong kuya. Okay, next theme. Nagkape na ba kayo? Nagkape ka na ba? Tanong mo sa pagong. Nagkape na ba siya? It's not funny. This one. Kape-kape muna. This is nice. Ang hilig mo sa kape. Kaya, kape nagpalit. Ah! Sino ang mahilig sa inyo sa kape? Kaya kayo pinagpapalit eh. Mahilig kayo sa kape eh. Ang hilig mo sa kape. Kaya kape nagpalit. Kaya wag nang maging loyal sa tao, maging loyal ka sa kape.
Hindi ako
Never ka iniwan ng kape, kahit sa burol mo nandoon siya. Ay, yes. Yes. Okay. Number of Starbucks stores globally. Alright. Chapter 2. Yan na. Let's begin with our discussion, continuation of our discussion in chapter 2. As I've said, I really hope that you did study, watch the video kasi yun yung introduction ng chapter 2 natin. So kapag hindi mo na-encounter yung mga terminologies doon at may-encounter mo siya ngayon, mahirapan kang intindihin ang mga ito. So sa mga hindi pa nakapanood nun, you still have time to go back to it bago tayo magkaroon ng recitation sa susunod na virtual meeting natin. Okay, so this is actually just a re-echo of all the concepts na diniscuss ko doon sa video lecture para sa chapter 2 natin. Okay, so hopefully, for this meeting, makover na natin yung halos lahat. And then, sa susunod, ang content ng recitation ninyo ay yung natitirang topics in chapter 2, katulad ng ginawa ko nung chapter 1. So instead of the usual discussion, we will do it via recitation, sharing of your thoughts, and not only opinions, but should be incorporated with facts. So tignan ko lang yung content ng recitation ninyo. The power of ICT, social media and its applications, functions of social media, tapos proper uses of social media. Okay. For now, reiteration, re-echo of the concepts found in chapter 2, communication and globalization. All right. Yeah, familiar with all of these icons? Raise your hands. Meron ba? Ano itong huli? What is this? Itong kinu-cursor ko. Ano yan? Can you tell me what that is? Junel, ano yun?
Snapchat po, ma'am. Snapchat. Snapchat po, ma'am.
Snapchat. Ayun, sino may Snapchat sa inyo? Yung may kalokohan, tapos para ma-separate from Messenger, may Snapchat siya. 'Di ba? Or kaya naman masyado siyang busy na tao, sineseparate niya yung business affairs niya doon sa daily affairs niya. So yung daily affairs niya sa Messenger, yung business affairs niya sa Viber, ayan. I remember when I was working in Lingayen, yung mga bosses doon, the city president, the vice president, the directors, they can be reached sa Viber, hindi sa Messenger. Pag may message mo sila sa Messenger, they will never ever reply to you. Pero kapag sa Viber mo sila message, ayan, doon ka nila makikita, doon ka nila i-message. Kasi nga, sinaseparate nila yung daily transactions nila doon sa business transactions. Daily transactions nila, friends and family, diba? Business transactions, yung mga colleagues nila, subordinates nila. Ayan. Okay. Did you know that Filipinos spent over 4 hours using social media platforms, which was the highest across the Asia-Pacific region? Ayan, di naman dinggit sa inyong kaalaman na we belong to Asia, specifically sa Southeast Asia tayo, at tayong mga Pinoy ang may pinakamataas na time span, pinakamatagal na time span pagdating sa pagbabrowse sa social media. So averaging 4 hours using social media platform. Imagine, 4 na oras kang nag-i-scroll sa cellphone mo, nakahiga or nakaupo, nagtitingin ng mga pictures, nagla-like, nagko-comment. Kung yung 4 hours mo, kahit sana 2 hours would be good. I think so I'm using my phone sa social media for 2 hours. Tapos, another 2 hours sa panonood naman. Ayan. So, parang tama, 4 hours lang din talaga. Okay, so imagine kung sana yung 2 hours na lang, itinulog mo lang para sa mga working people, pero para naman sa inyong mga estudyante na wala namang pinaproblema, kundi mag-aral lang, kung sana yung 2 hours ay, yeah, it's good if you spend it through sleeping, pero it's also good if you spend the 2 hours through studying, through reading, di ba? Kaysa sa pag-browse sa inyong social media. So, ayun, trivia, tayong mga Pilipino ang may pinakamahabang time span sa pagbabrowse ng ating mga social media accounts. What are these? WordPress, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. Ilan ang familiar kayo dito? Tumblr, Skype, Reddit, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Foursquare, Instagram, Imgur. What is Imgur? This is my first time to encounter Imgur. Ano ang application ng Imgur? Raise your hand if you're familiar with it. Okay, perhaps you're not familiar with it. How about, sino ang familiar sa Tinder, ano ba? Sige huhuliin ko kayo Sino ang familiar sa Tinder? Raise your hands. Again, di sila umaamin. Sino ang familiar sa Tinder na application? Wala. How about sa Bumble? Ay, wala rin. Ay, matitino ang Phil 1B. This is Phil 1B. Okay, so Bumble and Tinder are 2 dating apps. Yan, dating applications. Yan. Through the use of internet, diba, you can already globalize or interact with the people you barely know or with the people who are living not within your territory but within another, diba? Sa ibang region, sa ibang lokalop ng mundo, posible na ang pakikipag-usap because of all these applications. Okay, I'm not familiar with Imgur. I'm also not familiar with Foursquare. I am familiar with LinkedIn, with Pinterest, kasi these are all educational resources. With YouTube, of course. Reddit, I have heard about it. It's also an educational resource, I believe. Skype, Tumblr, yes. Facebook, Twitter are SOCMED, social media. WordPress, Imgur lang, and Foursquare, yung hindi ako familiar. So, how many are these applications? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, how many of you knows 8 and above sa applications na to? Raise your hand nga kung meron kayong, kung familiar kayo sa 8 and above sa mga applications na yan. Only Glaceline. Okay, Desiree, Benji, Marvy. Who else? Okay, so kakonti, how about 5? Perhaps 5, no? Kasi ang mga most familiar dito ay YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Skype. Tama? Okay. Para sa inyo na, ayan, so marami nang nag-raise ng hand doon sa 5. Okay, dahil sila yung mga pinaka-known na applications or sites ba ang tawag sa kanila. Ayan. Pero for your good, for your own good, please try LinkedIn at Pinterest and Reddit too. Dahil dyan kayo makakakuha ng mga educational resources din. Pagka may tasks kayo na wala namang binigay sa inyo yung instructor na resources, you have to find it on your own. Makikita nyo dyan sa Pinterest, ayan. Search nyo na or download nyo na yung application or i-browse na ninyo sa inyong Google Chrome or any browser that you have on your device. Dahil very helpful yan sa inyo as students. At huwag lang kayong puro Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. Okay. Okay, globalization and the global village. We have already encountered these terminologies doon sa video lecture natin. I hope you're already familiar with them. I don't have any intention to repeat them kasi sabi ko nga sana pinag-aralan niyo yung mga yun. Okay. Talk about this, the process of bringing people together and making them interact and exchange ideas across traditional borders are what we call globalization. World driven largely by advances in technology has become inextricably interconnected across distances and other boundaries. By Downing, 2007. Because everything is made possible through globalization. And what is the key tool in globalization? It is communication. Without communication, globalization will never be possible. Increasing economic, political, and cultural integration and interdependence of diverse cultures. So even if we have differing beliefs, differing practices, yung kultura natin, our food preferences, our clothing, our songs, our music, our dances, yung mga yan, magkakaiba tayo, pero we are being gathered in the global village or in the global arena through communication. Okay, one world interconnected by an electronic nervous system called media. Right? Flattening of the world. Okay, who would like to explain this? Flattening of the world. Globalization is the flattening of the world. Arlene. Yes, Arlene. You can open your microphone. Or siguro hindi niya lang naibaba kanina, no? I-put down your hand na, Arlene. Point of recitation tayo for this one. How would you explain this? Flattening of the world in relation to globalization. This is an imagery related to how it truly means when it comes to globalization. Anong talagang ibig sabihin ng flattening of the world in connection to globalization? Because we all know that the world is round or spherical, di ba? Hindi siya flat. Pero paano siya nagiging flat through globalization? Arlene, can you hear me? Please put down your hand if you don't have intention to answer the question. Okay. Next na, please raise your hand sa mga gustong sumagot. Try your best to speak in the English language. Explain this imagery, a flat world, when it comes to globalization. Sige nga, let me see how you think. Feel one me. Yes, Krisha din.
Ay, ma'am. Audible po ba ako?
Krisha din?
Ma'am, narinig po ba ako?
Yes, audible na, audible.
I think po flattening of the world ng globalization kasi pagdating po sa pakikipag-communicate natin ngayon is nagagamit po natin ang advancement ng technology po kung saan parang ang nangyayari is mas napapadali yung pagkakakonekta natin sa isa't isa kung asaan ka man sa globe now. Parang nagkakaroon ng parang compression sa mundo, parang kahit nasaan man yung isang tao is pwede mo silang makipag-communicate sa kanila. Kaya parang pinapaliit niya yung parang pinapalit niya yung globe natin dahil sa pakikipag-communication po.
Exactly, Krisha. Very good. Diba? I like the way you think. Oh, that is how easy it is to explain. It's flattened. Ibig sabihin, everything is made easier. Kasi imagine if it is round or spherical, then when you're trying to plot a line, starting from this point, magpa-plot ka ng line, so iikot pa yan. Unlike if it's flat, you will just draw a straight line, diba? So the connection is made easier through globalization. That is why in here it is said that the globe is flattened because of globalization. It's no longer spherical. It's no longer difficult to reach the people who are not within our border. Everyone is already reachable. Diba? Through globalization. Very good, Krisha. You got the imagery. Celine, do you have anything to say pa? I saw you raise your hand. Ganun mag-isip class ha. Very good, Krisha. I was amazed. Didn't expect you to answer those things. Celine,
Wala na pindot po.
nasabi na ni Krisha. Alright? Next. A surprising and lightning quick convergence of technologies allows individuals, not just countries and companies, to communicate from anywhere to anywhere, collaborating and competing for the first time on a level playing field. Level playing field. Diba? Leveled na siya. Hindi na, flattened na siya. Very reachable na. Kayang-kaya ng makicommunicate or makitransact ng tao from the Philippines to the people from China or from Japan as long as technology is concerned. Kung kinakailangan nila ng tulong from America or from China or from Japan, we can make things happen very easily because of the flattened globe through globalization. Okay. So globalization happens, and these are the proofs, because we have Morocco in the Philippines. This food or products are from Morocco, but we have them in the Philippines. Itong McDo in Japan, in United Kingdom, in Turkey, in Germany, in Spain, in Hong Kong, and India, in Mexico, merong McDo. Diba? So, ito yung mga nagmo-merge sa atin or nagiging common sa ating lahat, and this is made possible through globalization. Kung walang globalization, then the products of the Canada, kung aware kayo doon sa Tim Hortons sa may malapit sa Romantic Baboy and Army Navy sa Dagupan, sinong nakapunta doon, raise your hand, sa Tim Hortons. It's a Canadian cafe. Kung walang globalization, then that Canadian cafe will not be able to stand here in the Philippines, not be able to be established here in the Philippines. It's through globalization that we have Tim Hortons in Dagupan. Sana all may laman ATM. Why do we have to talk about this international staffs? Because we live in a global village. We all share our common differences, and this is what we call culture. So may common differences tayo, may pagkakaiba-iba tayo, pero ang pagkakapareho natin sa pagkakaiba na ito ay lahat ng pagkakaiba natin ay tumutukoy sa iisang salita, and this is culture. What is culture? Ayan. As a learned and shared behavior of a community of interacting human beings, or as a system of beliefs, assumptions, and values shared by a group of people. Okay, can you tell me a practice in Japan that is not being practiced in the Philippines, and that is what separates Japan from the Philippines as far as culture is concerned? Sige nga, ano ang ginagawa sa Japan na hindi ginagawa sa Pilipinas? Raise your hand. Carol. Let's go back to sorry. Ayan. Medyo annoying yung sound. Let's go back to you, Harold. Fix your, what do you call it? Fix your audio, ha, Harold. Tapos raise your hand again later. Let's have Joseph Cristobal. What happens in Japan does not happen in the Philippines?
The way po na ano ma'am, pag gumagalang po sila, sa Japan po, they bow their head po, they head po.
Correct. Tama.
Sa
And
Pilipinas naman,
with their hands like this, no? Tapos gumaganon sila.
sa Pilipinas naman po, ang ginagawa po nila is ay sa pagmamano po.
Ayun. That's one quick, easy difference between the Japan and the Philippines when it comes to showing respect to the elderly. Kapag here in the Philippines, nagmamano ang mga bata sa mga matatanda. Sa Japan naman, nagbabaw ng head ang mga bata sa mga matatanda. Ayan. So, that's one difference of Japan and Philippines. How about, ano pa? How about in China? What examples of practices in China can you name that are not done in the Philippines? Glaceline?
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, yun dun po sa way kung paano po sila kumain. Yung pagkakaroon po ng sounds, yung pag-slurp po. Kasi sa kanila po, it means masarap yung pagkain. Pero pag dito sa
Very good.
Pilipinas, kabastusan po yun. Yun lang po.
Correct. Kasi in Japan, I think it's more appropriate if you give that example in Korea naman. Sa tingin ko sa Korea yun, pero siguro ang alam mo yung Japan, tama ka rin, na hindi ko lang alam. Pero ang alam ko na kapag humihigop ng sabaw or kumakain ng mga Koreans, the more slurps they make, the more it means that it's delicious. Pero kapag nasa Pilipinas ka, tapos nagmi-make sound ka ng ganun kapag kumakain ka, kabastusan, tama? Walang manners. Parang baboy kung kumain. You just have to chew with your jaw dito sa Pilipinas, 'di ba? Bawal yung mantika. Yun yung term natin in Pangasinan, mantika. Kapag mantika ka, it's bastos, it's walang manners kapag ka kumakain. Pero sa Korea, the more tikap you make, the more it means it's delicious. Ayun. So, yun yung mga differences in culture natin na maaaring mag-cause ng miscommunication or misinterpretation. For example, yung Korea kumain kasama ng mga Pilipino sa isang hapagkainan at hindi aware ang mga Pilipino sa kulturang ganun, maaari silang mabastusan, 'di ba? Na walang manners ito, bisita, pero ganyan siya, very comfortable at nagmi-make ng sounds. Ganun yung pwedeng sabihin ng mga Filipino people kapag naka-encounter sila ng isang Korean na sarap kumain. If you're watching mukbang, ganun sila kumain, di ba? And also the use of chopsticks and the use of spoon and fork, difference between Koreans again and Japanese and United States of America. I can't say that the use of spoon and fork are originally from the Philippines, class, kasi ang original habit natin in the Philippines ay walang utensil but bare hands, tama? So ang spoon and fork ay not from the Philippines. We just adapted that from the Western countries. From the Westerners. So, ang spoon and fork ay from America, in the Philippines, bare hands. Chopsticks ay sa Korea, sa Japan, sa China, sa Vietnam. Ayan. Pero ang spoon and fork and knife ay sa Western parts of the globe. Alright. Ilan lang yan sa mga differences in culture na maaaring mababaw lamang. May mga mas malalalim pa. Such as, ang Japan ay very, if there's a country that I love when it comes to their culture, Japan yun. Japan ang gusto ko. Kung nanonood kayo ng balita, ang mga prime minister ng Japan o yung kanilang mga officials, kapag nakikipag-usap sa mga Pilipino, they always make sure that they acknowledge the culture of the Philippines by showing things that represent what Philippine is. For example, nung nakipag-usap yung representative ng Japan sa representative ng Pilipinas, doon sa kanyang table ay mayroong jeep na toy. At ang jeep ay only seen in the Philippines, or it's an object that could identify a country which is the Philippines. So wala namang jeep sa America, walang jeep sa China, Pilipinas lang ang may jeep. So naglalagay sila ng object na nag-acknowledge sa kultura ng kausap nila as a sign of respect, as a sign of acknowledgement, and it's something that I appreciate kasi it just means na in-acknowledge nila tayo, na nirerespeto nila tayo, na kilala nila tayo, at binavalue nila yung kultura na mayroon tayo. Because when our officials in the Philippines talk with the officials in China, wala namang ganun. Very dominant nga ang China eh. Ang pinapakita lang nila yung kultura nila. They're very ethnocentric. Ang ethnocentrism class ay when you're very proud of your own culture na ang tingin mo, ang sayo ang laging tama. At yung kultura ng iba ay mali. Pero when we are talking, as far as culture is concerned, nothing is right, nothing is wrong, di ba? It is within the people practicing the acts. So nasa kanila, sila ang magdidikta kung ito ay acceptable or not. Okay? The characteristics of cultures are learned, not innate. Okay, cultures are shared, cultures are multifaceted, cultures are dynamic, and cultural identities are overlapping. Itong dynamic at overlapping sa fourth and fifth characteristics ng culture class ay related to one another in a sense na kaya nag-overlap ang cultural identities ay dahil dynamic ito. For example, ang pagkain ng pansit sa tingin ninyo ay very Filipino, which is true kasi here in the Philippines kapag ka may birthday, kailangan ng pansit para humaba ang buhay ng may birthday, tama? Pero did you know that eating pansit is not originally a practice from the Philippines? It's a practice from China and it's also a product from China. So nag-overlap ang cultural identity. Ang akala ninyo ang pansit ay originally a product of the Philippines pero it's actually a Chinese food. Ano pa? Yung kumpanyero, yung salitang kumpanyero, it means, what does kumpanyero mean? Sige nga, kung alam na nyo. Raise your hand if you know the word kumpanyero. Walang may alam sa inyo ng salitang kumpanyero. Kumpanyero means friend. Oh, Glyceline, do we have the same answer? Are you gonna say friend? Or
Yes.
you have another answer? Oh, tama. Yan. So, Glyceline have the same answer. Ang kumpanyerong ibig sabihin niya ay friend. At kung narinig nyo yung mga tatay ninyo, ako I always hear my dad utter this term, kumpanyero, kasi dami niyang barkada siya, mainom siya. So, kumpanyero ang tawag niya sa mga kainuman niya. At ang kumpanyero ay iniisip nyo na salitang galing sa Pilipinas, pero yan ay Espanyol. And how did that happen? How did that cultural identity exist? It's because we were colonized by the Spaniards for how many years? 333 years. Kaya yung kultura nila ay naging kultura na nating mga Pilipino. Another word. Kumusta? Kumusta class is actually a Spanish word. Kamusta? Perdona. What is perdona? What is perdona? I don't know if it's perdona or perdona. Ano ang perdona? Christy. Christy, what's your answer? I did not hear it.
Sorry po, ma'am.
Correct. Perdona is sorry. Or you're asking for forgiveness. At akala mo, Filipino word yan or practice ng mga Pilipino or salita ng mga Pilipino. Pero ang perdona ay, again, Espanyol. Why did I know all of these things? Because I was watching Money Heist 3 months ago and yung Spanish version. And I've been hearing lots and lots of familiar words na akala ko ay mga Filipino words, yun pala mga Spanish words. And the ultimate reason ay dahil kinolonize nila tayo, kaya na-immerse natin yung mga sarili natin sa kanila, including our own language. Nahaluan yung lengguwahe natin ng kanilang sariling lengguwahe. I'm trying to go back to the list of words na nilista ko sa aking ka-chat ko ang sarili ko class. I'm messaging myself whenever I wanna save something. And I did save those words. Babalikan ko lang. Okay, ito. Porque. Oh, ano ang porque? Diba ginagamit natin ang salitang porque? But what does it mean by porque? Can you try to explain it? Kahit na hindi yung exact meaning, pero ano yung essence niya? Kapag sinasabi mo yung porque, anong ibig sabihin mo? For example, ang sungit-sungit niya porque maganda siya. O anong ibig sabihin ng porque? Desiree.
Ma'am, kahit po.
Porque. Oo. Ang sungit-sungit niya porque maganda siya, or ang sama ng ugali niya porque matalino siya, or ganon, di ba? Ang angas-angas niya porque mayaman siya. Ganon. So parang porque is an excuse, di ba? In an essence, it's an excuse, excusing a bad habit or a bad behavior. Pero ginagamit natin ng porque all the time. Sinasabi mo sa mga kaklase mo, piling, porque ano, ganon yung terms ninyo. Pero ang porque ay a Spanish word. Another is entrada. Entrada is enter. Okay, ora mismo is nauna. Ora mismo is a Spanish phrase. At ito, raise your hand sa mga may apelyido or middle name or relatives na Lopez, Arenas, Gomez. You raise your hands. Lopez, Arenas, Gomez. I am an Arenas. Okay. Ayan, si Sunshine ay merong relative perhaps na Lopez, Arenas at Gomez kasi Diola naman yung apelyido niya. Who else? Wala na, siya lang. Ayan, ang mga apelyidong Lopez, Arenas at Gomez ay Spanish, hindi mga Filipino surnames, pero mga Spanish surnames ang mga yan. Nalahian tayo ng mga Spanyol noong panahon na tayo ay kanilang sinako. For 333 years, syempre, yung mga officials nila, Filipino women are very lovable, di ba? Very attractive. Kahit anong lahi, attracted sa Filipino women. Ayan. Nagpalahi naman, di ba, mga Pilipino. Okay, what else? Kani kong nailista dito, para lang maging aware kayo, because this is purposive communication and it involves language. Just so you thought that this language is a Filipino language, pero Spanish pala. Nabalikan ko lang. Okay, so aside from Lopez, Arenas, Gomez, you also have yun, yung kumusta, amigo, diba? Senyorita, and patatas. The potato, patatas. Patatas sa Filipino word natin for potato, it's actually a Spanish word. Simpatico. What is simpatico? Simpatico is usually a term to praise a man who is attractive, diba? Oh, simpatico is likable. And simpatico is a Spanish word, not a Filipino word. Okay, next one. Peligro. Peligro is danger. Tama. Ginagamit natin ang peligro sa Filipino word. And then, kutsara, kutsarita, compañero. Okay, these are all Spanish words we thought are Filipino words, pero hindi pala. So, cultures are dynamic and cultural identities are overlapping. Akala mo, kapag sinabi mo ang salitang perdona, you are talking about Filipino people using the word. Pero hindi, kasi ang salitang perdona ay lengguwahe para ng mga Espanyol. So cultural identities are overlapping and they are dynamic. They are multifaceted kasi marami tayong ethnicities here in our own country. Meron tayong general cultures such as pagmamano. Ang pagmamano ay ginagawa ng lahat ng Pilipino, Cebuano ka man, Pangasinense ka man, Hiligaynon ka man, Aita ka man, etc. Meron tayong general culture, pero meron din tayong specific na mga ginagawa. For example, sa kasuotan, hindi naman tayo nagsusuot ng, anong tawag doon sa Christmas, sa Aita? Bahag. Hindi naman tayo nagsusuot ng mga bahag as Tagalogs, di ba? Or as Pangasinenses. Kaya multifaceted yung kultura natin. And cultures are shared, very self-explanatory. Cultures are learned because the moment you were born, hindi ka naman agad-agad immersed doon sa kultura. Pero as you are living with the people practicing the certain acts or the certain behavior, doon mo lang siya natututunan. Kaya, hindi siya natututunan siya at hindi siya innate. Hindi siya pagkapanganak mo ay nakabahag ka na agad. Pero sinusuotan ka ng bahag, kaya mo ito natutunan. 'Di ba? Yung kulturang pagsusuot ng bahag bilang Aita ay natutunan mo dahil ito ang ginagawa ng mga parents mo. Hindi to innate kasi kung wala namang gagawa, hindi mo rin siya gagawin. Ginagawa mo lang siya kasi natutunan mo siya. Alright, next, other term. Okay, cultural adaptation, how does this happen? These are some ways on how people cope with new cultures. So kapag ang isang tao ay napunta sa ibang lugar, ito yung mga ginagawa nila kung paano sila nakikikope up sa mga kultura ng isang lugar na hindi sila familiar. Number 1, cultural integration. Second, cultural assimilation. Third, cultural accommodation. Fourth, multiculturalism. And then fifth, separation. Let's discuss cultural integration. Adaptation muna. Okay, a form of cultural exchange in which one group assumes the beliefs, practices, and rituals of another group without sacrificing the characteristics of its own culture. So here in cultural adaptation, you get to learn a new set of cultures, a new set of practices, or a new set of beliefs, pero you will also not forget the culture that you have originally. Nag-a-adapt ka lang because perhaps because of work, ikaw ay taga Pangasinan, para ikaw ay nagkatrabaho sa La Union, so yung mga practices sa La Union, kailangan mo ring matutunan just because you are working at para makisama ka, pero doesn't mean that you have to forget your own culture. So that is the essence of cultural adaptation. Next. When people from a culture adopt the essence of another culture, such as its attitudes and ceremonies, while at the same time maintaining their own culture. Okay. It's only in La Union. I studied there in Dimsu, so I spent 4 years in finishing my undergraduate, yung BS English ko. Doon ko lang natutunan, hindi ko alam pero baka hindi ko lang practice sa bahay. Baka i-judge niyo ako. Doon ko lang natutunan sa La Union na kumatok sa pento sa offices. Because in the Philippines, for example, taga sa SSS or PhilHealth, and the guard tells you to get inside or go directly, directing you to a door, ino-open ko na lang yung door. Pero doon sa loon yun, everyone is knocking muna before they open it. Kahit na sinabihan ka na pumasok ka, you still have to knock. Ayan. So, siguro sa inyo, nagna-knock naman kayo. So, I don't know if knocking is a culture of La Union distinct from Pangasinense. Hindi naman no, kasi Pangasinenses do knock. Ako lang siguro yung hindi ko mangkatok. So, sa La Union ko lang siya natutunan. Alright. Okay. Integrate to form, coordinate, or blend into a functioning or unified whole. Okay, unite. Integrate. Cultural assimilation occurs when members of one cultural group adopt the language, practices, and beliefs of another group, often losing aspects of their traditional culture in the process. Ayan. So dito sa cultural assimilation, nakukuha mo na yung kultura ng iba, nag-fade na yung sayo, losing aspects of your traditional culture. Assimilate to make similar. Refers to the process by which individuals may take on values and beliefs of the host culture and accommodate them in the public sphere while maintaining the parent culture in the private sphere. Okay. So dito sa cultural adaptation natin, specifically cultural assimilation, na-adapt mo na yung beliefs ng host culture. Ibig sabihin ng host culture kung saan ka nagkatrabaho. For example, taga Pangasinan ka, nagkatrabaho ka sa La Union, ang host culture na tinutukoy dito ay yung sa La Union. So natututunan mo na yung mga practices, values, and beliefs sa La Union, pero maintain mo pa rin yung kultura mo sa private sphere na lang. In public, what you are showing ay yung host culture kasi nga nakikisama ka doon. So publicly there, you're also practicing their culture. Kasi nga kailangan mong makisama. So the counterpart to cultural assimilation, in which cultural diversity is encouraged and valued as beneficial to society. This follows the core ideology of live and let. So when one culture group refuses to interact or join the dominant culture, members of this group prefer to interact with the members of their own culture, so they are often known as outsiders. Okay, the nature of common cultural differences, we have leadership, work productivity, group allegiance, and task commitment. Hindi yata nasama ni Sir Aaron yung ibang examples ng cultural adaptation. So, i-discuss ko siya kasi familiar naman siya sa akin. So, dito sa cultural integration class, nakiki-integrate ka na unite. Sa assimilation naman, nakukuha mo yung practices na nag-fade yung own culture mo pero hindi pa rin nawawala. Sa accommodation, natututunan mo and then nawawala yung kultura mo. Multiculturalism naman, pwede mong pagsabayin, multiple yung culture, and then separation, you are separating your own culture to the new culture na na-encounter mo. So, hindi ka masyadong adaptive, hindi ka masyadong open, ethnocentric ka, what you know is your own culture only. So, sineseparate mo siya. Okay, what else? The nature of common cultural differences when it comes to leadership. And key characteristic on leadership is power or influence. Ito yung high power and low power. Work productivity, aggressive or assertive behavior whose objective is success in competition and winning is rewarded with high honor. It gives primary consideration to modesty, quality of life, and tenderness. Rewards are given for work, satisfaction, and salaries are determined based on need, not on production. Sino sa inyo yung, okay, let's not take that example kasi para sa mga working people na yan. Pero sa mga katulad ninyo na mga estudyante pa lang, sino sa inyo yung may sense of balance pa? Yung hindi lang puro aral ng aral, pero you also make sure that you are rewarding yourself. You are browsing your phones for comfort or to forget your tasks at school. Okay. So yung unang-una, raise your hand kung ikaw yung klase ng estudyante na puro aral lang, walang leisure time. Puro aral lang talaga. Wala. So every one of you is telling me that you have a sense of balance. That is good. Sige nga, kung nakikinig kayo, raise your hand if you are the kind of student who still makes sure to reward himself or herself at hindi lang puro aral. For a moment class ha, meron lang akong mga estudyante na papakritik ng thesis nila. Teka lang. Iwan nila. Ay, sige. So, pipirmahan ko muna, tapos ipapapirma niyo muna bago ibigay yung manuscript. Okay, sige. Kasi smart mo yung nagpapaano, dito. Kasi sa advisor. Oo, sige. Oo, sige. Sige. Understand sa advisor, diba? Sa consultant to read and kasi hindi ko pa nakikriti eh. And there's not number. Ayan, okay. So put down your hands. Let's go with the next one. Okay, the nature of common cultural differences. We have individualism and collectivism. What is the main difference? In individualism, the individual can change the standards of the culture, but in collectivism, sacrificing everything for the sake of the group can change the culture. I think it's understandable when it's collectivism, you also have to gather data or gather the consensus of all the members of the group. So hindi lang ikaw yung nag-decide sa isang practice na applicable to all, pero dapat kinakailangan na nag-agree din lahat ng members of the body. In contrast to individualism wherein you can change the standard of the culture. For example, it is the culture within your family to pray first before you eat. Pero outside, if you don't feel like doing it, you cannot pray. You just have to proceed with eating. So pwede mong baguhin kapag ikaw lang yung concern, kapag sarili mo lang at kapag walang ibang affected. That is in individualism. Unlike in collectivism, wherein before you proceed or pursue with one particular practice or culture, you have to make sure to get the consensus of the entire group or all the members of the body. Na hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na hindi natin ito gagawin, kailangan mag-agree ng lahat na hindi nyo na ito gagawin. Okay? Okay, the nature of common cultural differences when it comes to task commitment. High context cultures resist change, so few changes are made since the belief is what was good enough for father and grandfather is good enough for me. Okay. Work for the good of the cause, not the welfare of the group. The focus is on the here and now and to get the job done. So change, growth, and innovation are encouraged. So low context cultures naman, high context cultures and low context cultures, the difference between these two as far as task commitment is concerned, yung sa low context cultures, here and now ang focus. Dito naman sa high context cultures, medyo long term ang iniisip nila, kaya ginagawa ng maayos yung task. Dito sa low context, ang iniisip lang ay yung sa ngayon. Okay, not very adaptive. Kailangan mo lang gawin ng tama yung job mo. Doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. Okay. Puro memes na. I think he cuts the discussion there. Kaya memes na itong mga ito. Yung babarong ka sa kanya, tas sinaliwan ka bigla ng milk tea. Kaso natapon yung milk tea. How sad. Okay, communicating within and across cultures, we have the following terms. We have avoiding, accommodating, forcing, educating, persuading, negotiating, compromising, and then collaboration, problem solving. So when we are communicating with people not within our geographical border, meaning they are from another country or from another region, these are what we are doing, we might not be aware of lang. Hindi lang tayo aware, pero ito yung mga terminologies na tumutukoy sa mga practices or actions natin kapag tayo ay nakikipag-usap sa mga tao na hindi malapit sa atin. Number 1, avoiding. Okay, so hindi siya nag-include ng explanation for this one. For example, sa messenger ninyo, may nag-chat na Indian, o, di ba, very reachable na-reach niya yung Facebook mo, kahit hindi naman kayo magkakilala, kahit naman magkaiba kayo ng race or ng identity or ng bansa. And what do? You avoid by putting the message in spam folder or ignoring the message or blocking the person. Accommodating is the opposite of avoiding. So, you accommodate, you entertain, lalo na pag nakita mong gwapo, again, accommodate niya. Forcing naman, kapag ikaw namimilit, for example, you are in the shoes of the Indian na ayaw ka na nga niya, blinak ka na nga niya, you still added him or her using another account. Okay, educating, persuading naman, there are people, raise your hand if you have encountered people, especially from insurance companies, na mini-message nila kayo, in-educate nila kayo, pinapersuade nila kayo. In-educate nila kayo through informing you of the benefits or informing you of what insurance is, kung anong patungkol sa kanilang kumpanya. And then, pinapersuade nila kayo sa mga sinasabi nila sa inyo na kapag nagkasakit ka or nanganak ka, for example, you will receive 50,000 pesos, or kapag namatay ka, sana hindi mangyari, pero kapag nangyari, may marireceive na 1 million yung beneficiaries mo. Ayan, sino yung nakakatanggap ng mga ganitong random text messages? They're not spam messages, hindi rin sila mga chain messages. Ang tawag sa kanila ay ganun, educational, persuasive, pero sometimes I get annoyed. Pero tactic nila yun eh. Talagang ginagawa nila yun. Mini-message nila kahit sinong hindi nila kilala para makamarket sila. Kasi when you invest in them, meron silang percentage. Depende kung gaano kalaki yung ininvest mo, kung anong package yung pinili mo. For example, in a month, naguhulog ka sa kanila ng 3,000 or minsan nang invest ng 100,000. Tapos meron silang 5% doon. So, meron kang 5,000 sa 100,000. So, kahit sino may message nila, iba't ibang lugar, iba't ibang mga tao, siguro, from the day I started working, kasi nagre-reflect yan sa social media ko, sa Facebook ko, kaya alam nila, more than 10 messages na ang na-receive ko from insurance companies. How about sa inyo? Have you tried? Raise your hand kung may mga na-encounter na kayong ganitong messages. Yun ang example ng educating, persuading. Wala pa? Raise your hand if you're still listening to me. Siguro wala pa kasi you're still students, no? Nagba-background check din naman yung mga agents ng insurance companies kung sining mga mini-message nila na sa tingin nila ay pwede nilang makumbinsi na kumuha ng packages sa kanila so that they can earn. Okay. But if you don't want to raise your hand, please click on some reactions there so that I know na you're still there and listening kasi until 11 pa tayo. Let's finish this na. Para recitation tayo sa susunod na meeting natin. Okay? So, negotiating, compromising kapag between two entrepreneurs or businessmen, nakikinegotiate sila tapos para magkasundo sila, nagko-compromise sila. Sabihin nung isa, o sige, para pumayag ka na maging partners tayo or mag-invest ka sa akin, instead na 70-30 ang hatian, 60-40 na lang. So, negotiating, compromising. Compromising in a sense na dapat 70-30 dapat mas malaki sa'yo, 70 kasi sa'yo naman yung kumpanya, mag-i-invest lang siya. May makukuha na siya na 30% na mula doon sa kikitain. Pero para pumayag siya, nag-compromise ka, pinawasan mo yung para sa'yo, 60 na lang para sa'yo, 40 para sa kanya, para pumayag siya. So that is negotiating, compromising. And that is how we do communication within and across cultures. Within, kapag kakapwa mo Pilipino or taga dito sa Pilipinas, or sa bahay nyo lang, or sa school nyo lang, within, and then across cultures, kapag kayong kausap mo ay hindi mo kapareho ng kultura or ng identity, ng race, ng skin color, ng beliefs, ng practices, ayan. I hope you are getting me. These are the terms we are studying in globalization. Sana naiintindihan ninyo. Are you getting the points of how communication play a role in globalization? Class, are you? I'm not seeing any reactions. Okay, and then collaboration and then problem solving. When there's a problem, all you have to do is to talk with one each other in the group, collaborate, brainstorm until you are able to come up with one solution. Collaboration, problem solving. These are the 6 ways we are actually doing when we are communicating na hindi lang tayo aware of these terminologies, pero ito yung mga yon kapag tayo ay nakiki-communicate. Right, next. Guidelines on developing intercultural competence. What do we mean by intercultural competence? This is your skill or this is your capacity in communicating with people of different culture. Kaya niya sinabing intercultural competence. Ito yung kapasidad mo na makicommunicate sa mga taong hindi mo kapareho ng kultura. So ito yung mga guidelines natin. Widen your field of experience by making new contacts. How do we do this? Number 1, who can explain to me number 1 guideline? Ano kapag graduate na kayo? Sa trabaho ninyo, kailangan ninyong mag-present ng isang konsepto sa isang colleague counterpart mo sa Amerika. Sige, para mas realistic, sabihin nating Thailand. Kasi ang Pangasinan State University ay nakikinegotiate na sa ating neighboring countries in Southeast Asia. So, paano pag ikaw ay isang instructor kasi BSE kayo, na-hire ka dito sa PSU, inassign ka na makikolaborate sa isang colleague counterpart mo sa Thailand. So, instructor din ng Thailand University, kailangan yung makipag-partner sa isa't isa. What are the preparations you have to make before you deal with this type of situation? Sige nga, how do we do number 1? Widen your field of experience by making new contact. Okay, 7 to 11. 7 to 9 kanina, tas 9 to 11. Nasaan na yung mga nag-recite natin? What are the preparations that you should make before you talk to this Thailand person, to this Thai instructor? As regards number 1, widen your field of experience by making new contacts. It may sound absurd and unrealistic. Oh, yan na. Finally, Ferdinand.
Good morning, ma'am. So, yung pagkakaintindi ko po doon sa 1 is parang when you communicate someone or pag makikipag-social ka sa iba, dapat palawakin mo yung utak mo, palawakin mo yung utak mo through pakikipag-usap ng maayos or by oh God, nabububo ako. Parang ano po, ma'am, using parang gagamit ka ng ano po, ma'am, ng mga paano nga ba to? Lang.
Ng mga salita na familiar doon sa kausap mo, tama?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Parang sa
very
product.
Good, Ferdinand. Ayan. Pero ako yung nagsabi nun eh. Pero very good kung yun yung nasa isip mo. I remember my Indonesian instructor na nakipag-switch sa Filipino instructor namin sa masters last semester. For 2 weeks lang naman. So from Indonesia siya. Nakalimutan ko na ang pangalan. And did you know what preparations she made? She researched of words na familiar sa mga Filipino such as mabuhay, salamat. Ayan, para maging relatable siya, para maintindihan siya ng mga kausap niya at magustuhan siya. And when kapag na-experience nyo yan, kapag graduate na kayo, nag-instructor kayo ng PSU at kailangan yung makinegotiate sa mga Thailand students or Thailand colleagues or instructors, kailangan mo rin at some point makipag-usap kung may kakilala ka na para widen your vocabulary, your connections, para pagdating doon sa sitwasyon kung saan makikipag-partner ka na dito sa inassign sa'yo na Indonesian or Thailand counterpart, ay you will have a very smooth or ang tawag doon, rapport with the person, di ba? Very fine relationship with the person para maging effective yung instruction ninyo. Okay, number 2, learn about history and the experiences and aspirations of people from different cultures. They will feel flattered, they will feel appreciated, and they will feel recognized, acknowledged, and honored kapag kanire-research mo yung patungkol sa kanila. Sino nga ba sila? So bago ka makicommunicate sa kanila, kahit papano, you have to make an effort in knowing who they are. In knowing who they are, 'di ba? For example, bago ka makicommunicate sa kanila, i-research mo muna kung sila ba ay mahilig sa ganitong klaseng pagkain so that it would start a friendship, bring food that you think they would all like. Examine yourself for possible stereotypes. You have to assess yourself kung ikaw ba ay discriminating na tao, watch your own words, hindi ito yung ordinary daily transactions or communication mo na nakikipagbiruan sa mga friends na nagsasabi ng mga kahit na anong salita dahil comfortable naman kayo sa isa't isa. When you are doing intercultural communication, you can show your competence by being sensitive. So, hindi ito yung ordinary communication mo with your friend, pero you have to assess your own self na baka nakakasikip ka na or natatapakan mo na yung kultura ng isang tao. Okay, number 4, look at the world from someone else's way of looking at and thinking about something, not just yours. Okay, work on becoming more self-confident. Appreciate cultural similarities and differences. Acknowledge the essential equality and value of all cultures. And number 8, be sensitive and interpret cultural styles of communication. Okay. Ferdinand, you still have something to say? O nakalimutan mo lang yung ibaba yung kamay mo?
Nakalimutan ko po, ma'am. Sorry po.
Okay. O sige. For your remaining time, I will just give you an activity para send ko na yung rubric na ipinangako ko sa inyo dahil next week na yung task ninyo. Sa kabilang section kanina, I asked all the leaders kung kumusta sila and some said na nagka-practice face-to-face na, nasa stage na sila ng preparing props and costumes. So sana ganun din kayo. Yung iba, hindi pa nakakapag-practice. That is why I asked them to do so face-to-face, physically. Kasi 2 months from now, face-to-face na kayo class, diretso na kayong papasok Monday to Friday. Hindi ko alam kung may mga instructors na kayo na nagsasabi niyan. Pero it's a response of the university to the call of Senator Pia Cayetano. Babawasan ang budget ng university kapag hindi magpo-full-blown face-to-face, kaya it's a remedy para hindi mawala ng budget ng university, kailangan ng mag-face-to-face ito. Kasi nga okay naman na tayo, hindi naman na gaano ang peak ng pandemic, pawala na. We have to take extra precaution pa rin kahit sa mga sarili nyo lang, bring alcohol, face mask, etc. Pero face-to-face na tayo. So wala nang masama kung magka-practice na kayo, lalabas na kayo dyan sa bahay ninyo. As long as you do it here in the campus para naiiwasan natin ang disgrasya. And do it on weekdays, not on weekends. Okay? Para naiiwasan natin ang accidents. Okay, so kahit na makapractice lang kayo ng isang beses, that is fine. Dahil 5 minutes lang naman yun, 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so please raise your hands nga, mga leaders. Hindi ako nag-assign pero I am expecting na may nag-take charge sa bawat grupo. So kung sino yung mga nag-take charge sa bawat grupo, sila yung mag-raise ng hand, please. Wala. Sa kabila, nagtaas sila ng kamay. Come on. Leaders have extra points. Extra point, but it will not necessarily mean na mas mataas ka na sa number mo. Depende pa rin sa performance mo later on sa role training. Pero may additional ka na nga kasi ikaw yung nag-take charge sa grupo. So, sino yung mga nag-take charge sa bawat grupo ninyo? Come on, raise your hands. Wala. Raise your hands, class. Ayan, si Marvy. Who else? Si Glyceline. Sino pa? Yung mga leaders ng grupo ninyo. Class ha, baka ma-flux tayo sa face-to-face. Yun ang gagawin natin ha. I will take a video of your performances. Dapat prepared kayo. Liza Joy. Alright. Last one. Sino ang leader ng huling grupo na wala pang representative? Come on. Raise mo ng hand mo ngayon. So, ito yung mga iti-take note class ha. So, yung hindi mag-raise ng hand, hindi ko siya ma-take note. Okay, so 4 lang talaga. Doon sa isa, please, ayan, nagtaas na si Rose Ann Palagana. So, Rose Ann, Liza Joy, Fami, Glyceline, and Marvy. So, kumusta naman, Marvy? Ikaw muna. What's the status of your preparation in your group, Marvy?
Ma'am, okay lang naman po sa amin. Nag-practice po kami last Friday po. Bale, next Friday po ang susunod na practice namin. Okay na rin po yung script, mga props na pagplanuhan na rin po namin.
Nice. Very good, Marvy. Glyceline?
Ma'am, ganun din po. Magpa-practice na lang po ulit sa Friday.
Lavarias, Fami? Morning po.
Ma'am, sa Friday po, meet up po, ma'am. Magpa-practice na lang po.
Liza Joy?
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, as of now po, lahat naman po nakikipag-participate sa group namin. Tas natapos na rin po namin yung role play. Parang ang finish na lang po namin yung commercial po, ma'am.
Alright, that is nice. Na nagpa-participate ang lahat. Sino yung Pomchad ba? Oo, kasi yung ABM nila. Okay, and Rose Ann Palaganas. How is your group?
Okay lang po. Lahat naman po nakikipag-participate and ano na lang po, magpe-prepare na lang po kami ng mga props. Yun na lang po.
Okay, so far so good. Ang kailangan nyo na lang ay yung rubric. For formality lang yun kasi na-discuss ko naman sa inyo kung anong gagradean ko, how you execute the role-playing and advertisement, yung communication, a little bit on props and costume. Yan, the manner you speak, the manner you carry yourselves, the manner you talk. Okay, so gagawin ko na yon para ma-send ko na sa inyo. For your remaining time, you still have 38 minutes. Choose a partner. May GC kayo, I think so, na walang mga instructors. So doon na kayo pipili ng partner ninyo. Choose a partner and then video again to class ha. Pwede nyo naman siyang i-conduct online. So pwede kayong mag-meet sa Teams na kayong dalawa lang. Tapos converse with one another, applying all the concepts na natutunan natin ngayong umaga. So here is the catch. Yung isa Filipino, yung isa intercultural, ibig sabihin from another culture, from Japan, from America, for example, yung isa a fan, tas yung isa si Taylor Swift. How would you communicate? What is the content of your conversation? So, mag-usap lang kayo, 2 minutes maximum. So, a matter of 3 questions na exchanging of question and answer or kwentuhan. Kahit walang question and answer, basta magkwentuhan kayo. So, yung isa foreigner, yung isa Filipino. Alright? How would you apply your intercultural competence? Okay, so the activity will be entitled Intercultural Competence. Upload a video of yourself and your partner talking with one another, with one assuming the role of a Filipino, may it be a fan, a student, an instructor, and then the other one will be a foreigner, kung teacher man siya, kung artista man siya, kung scientist man siya, etc. So create your own roles and create your own conversation. Tapos, mag-usap kayo, pwede rin na video call, di ba? I-record ninyo, download the screen recorder para i-record ninyo yung inyong conversation. Na nakikita ko yung ano ninyo ha. Nakikita ko ninyo yung mga face ninyo. So, hindi lang boses, pero pati yung facial expressions ninyo, etc. Okay, please put on your hands, Marvy, Glyceline, Liza, and Rose Ann. Okay, naintindihan ba yung activity? Maximum of 2 minutes lang. Magkwentuhan ka lang. Hey, Taylor, I'm very fan of you. Can I answer na? Ganon-ganon, diba? Tapos, let's see how you would communicate Kasi magkasalita kayo talaga kayo lagi dito sa purposive communication. You have to expect that. Okay, raise your hand if you understood the activity. For example, you're a student and you're an aspiring scientist, makikipag-usap ka sa isang scientist, for example, and you are seeking for an advice, ayan, how would you say it? Okay, kung naintindihan na, choose a partner, and then do your activity. I will end the meeting now para may enough time na kayo. Okay, open your camera muna para quick picture lang muna tayo, please. Okay, ready? 1, 2, smile. Oh, si Jenny Rose at si Liza, noo lang yung nakikita ko. Ready? 1, 2, smile. Alright, thank you very much. I'll send our picture sa ating GC. I hope so you will do well in your activity. Goodbye. Have a good day.
Bye, ma'am.